business with an eager seller of fresh fish and agro products. Dave's needs a constant supply of snapper, butterfish, bangameri, bundari crab, sheriga crab, white belly shrimp, bon carilo, edo, saijambaji, and more. Contact Dave's West Indian Imports at 21 Middle Street, Viceless, East Coast, Demerara. Telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. Dave's will purchase.
Craving a meal that's big on flavor but doesn't break the bank? KFC has got you covered with the KFC 3-piece meal deal. Get 3 pieces of chicken, fries, mac and cheese, a biscuit, and a drink. All for just $2,200. It's the perfect deal, available every day. Enjoy your 3-piece meal deal at KFC today. KFC, it's finger licking good.
It's here! Igloo Ice Cream Fruit Bars. 4 mouth-watering flavors. Mango, pineapple, strawberry, and soursop. A beautiful combination of real fruit and igloo ice cream. Go old school with Fluty Popsicle. Classic flavors and refreshing goodness. Available at Igloo outlets and all your favorite shops. You don't leave anything to chance. Every day you click it, lock it, and mask up. Now press, rub, and wash with Sterling Super Soap. Our antibacterial formula eliminates 99.9% of all germs and bacteria. Clean and moisturize your hands with 4 refreshing and rejuvenating fragrances. Get super clean with Sterling Super Soap.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, Qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Good evening and welcome to another program of the Sean Dever Sports Watch. It's Tuesday, June 2, still in the year 2026, and I'm inviting you to join me on another program of the Sean Devers Sports Watch. This program comes to you with the compliments of Dave's West Indian Imports, KFC, Nomalco, Sterling Products Limited, Builders Lumberyard, and Survival Supermarket. On this program, we talk cricket with CWI Vice President and President of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, Azim Bassarat, veteran commentator, Red Sporera, and from 8 o'clock, Basil Butcher Jr. will join us. So good night, everyone. Good night to all those from overseas, especially North America, who came in for the independence celebrations, the 60th Diamond Jubilee, and especially my sister Nicola and her daughter Jessica. I want to say good night to everyone. Hope you had a great time. Tonight we talk about the West Indies. We preview the West Indies match, which is going to start tomorrow in Jamaica, the first one. They've got 3 one-days playing in Jamaica tomorrow, then on the 6th, and then the last and the final one is going to be on June 8th. The one-day team has been picked and announced, and the academy team has been picked and announced. I think they left on the 1st, so Ryan Hercules is also in that. The Ghana Amazon the Ghana Harpy Eagles coach, Ryan Hercules. He's been selected as assistant coach for that tour to Sri Lanka with the academy team. We've got now on the line Reds Pereira. Is Azim Basarat there? I'm not.
Well, good evening, Sean.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Azim Basarat as yet. But his team did wonderfully well. Congratulations to Trinidad Red Force for winning their first-class title in 20 years. What quite an achievement for the Trinidad people. Basarat wanted them to have a national holiday. I don't know if that materialized. Reds, how are you tonight?
I'm fine. I was just watching a World Cup game, preparation for the World Cup between Portugal and Switzerland. Portugal leading as I left there about 25 minutes into the first half, 2-0.
Yeah, well, that was a warm-up match because the tournament starts in earnest on the 11th. Canada, I was reminded by my sister that Canada is playing the first game on the 11th. And
they won 2-0 today in a practice game.
Okay, Canada, who they beat?
I think they beat a very, very small nation. I can't remember out of my head, but they won 2-0.
All right, Mr. Basarat is here also. Mr. Basarat, you follow football?
Well, when I get the time, I follow the World Cup. I understand there's 48 teams in the World Cup this year.
Yeah, in three countries, and there are problems in America because America and Iran was to play our game in America. Now it's been shifted to Mexico. Well, we're not talking about political problems here. Yeah. Yes, let's talk about West Indies match tomorrow and your country doing very well. Why is it though that teams take so long to be released? I did some investigative journalism, and my friend in Antigua told me the team, and I posted it on my Facebook, and the next day it was officially released. So I don't know if it was picked and still wouldn't release. Good evening to all the people looking at the program. What would you say, first of all, locally, what would you say was different with the Trinidad team this year and over the last 20 years?
A very difficult question, Sean. But from the onset, and I think about 2 or 3 years ago, when Gibran Mohammed got involved with the assistant coach position, and he and David Fulong started working very well. Gibran Mohammed pointed out to me that this young team will do well for Trinidad and Tobago. And it is not this year, but since then, Gibran Mohammed indicated to me, both he and Riyad Emirates indicated to me that by 2027, Trinidad is going to win the regional 4-day tournament. It's because of the young men who is with the team now. They seems to be gelling better than previous teams. They play for each other, and they were hungry for it. They themselves realized that it's 20 years Trinidad and Tobago have not won the regional 4-day tournament. And you can see, if you were following the games, you can see that the team played as a unit. They played for each other, and they were hell-bent on winning the tournament. Just before the tournament, the team left for Antigua. I had a discussion with Jaden Seals, and he also indicated to me, he said, President, this is the year. This is the year for us. And, you know, we in Trinidad and Tobago are extremely happy that, you know, they did bring back the title. And it shows that if you work hard, if you put in the hard yards, definitely you're going to reap the results. And I think this is exactly what this national team did in 2026. They worked very hard. The preparation was good. There was a few matches They train for long hours, sometimes from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the evening. And as I said before, they put in the hard yards and they reap the results. I think they deserve the title. They would have played, having looked at some of the games, they would have played better cricket than most of the teams. And I think really and truly, they deserve to come up on top of in this 4-day tournament.
Yes, I was really impressed with the fast bowling combination, Seals and Phillips. I think the only other fast bowling combination I think, well, that was better, was Ian Bishop and Tony Gray. And talking about Tony Gray, I had him on my program quite recently, and he was saying that why Trinidad and Tobago, well, the Red Force, does so well in one-day cricket is because of the culture of Trinidad, and there's not much focus on 3-day cricket by the fans, but mostly on one-day cricket, especially 2020. But they've won lots of Super 50s in the recent past. Reds, you want to ask the Vice President of the CII anything?
Well, I would like to first of all say how sharp he's looking tonight with a new hairstyle and nicely shaved and everything. And I would say congratulations to him. One of the comments that he might have read that I said is that now they have won the 4-day after 20 years, and they had some very good teams that did do that. But, you know, you need to go back a long way to discuss that. I said that hopefully the Trinidad and Tobago board, the vice president, Mr. President, really, would you all be playing less white ball cricket in the future and more red ball cricket because of the victory?
No reds. What we will do, we will continue playing the same amount of cricket, both red and white ball. Over the years, I have been clamoring for our local cricket, especially the top 10 clubs in the country, which plays cricket on Saturday and Sunday. And I have said on many occasions that for us to dominate and to prepare properly for 4-day and 5-day cricket is for us to play cricket Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Play 3-day matches. Playing 3-day matches, you are better prepared to play the 4-day game. And some clubs, there was some opposition from some clubs. However, I think last year or the year before, we played about 4 matches over 3 days. But I think that is the way we have to go. I have been speaking to the government to see if we can lend some support to the clubs, those Premier League clubs. We have 26 teams in our Premier League, 16 in Premiership 2, which is separated with 8 teams in each South and North. And then in the Premiership 1, we have 10 teams. So our objective really is to play the Premiership 1 with the 10 teams, 3 days of cricket, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with the league, and the Premiership 2 we play 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. So we are trying to get some help from the government. We are having a meeting tomorrow with the Minister of Sport, and if we get some assistance, just a one-off payment, you know, of $100,000, $150,000 for the Premiership 1 club to assist with their preparation and, of course, for providing meals and other refreshments and other necessity for the 3-day cricket. You know, if each team get that amount of money, it will go a long way in preparing our players properly for the longer version of the game. We will continue playing the 50-over cricket, which we normally do, and also our T20 cricket, which is a huge T20 festival, which we usually held with all teams, whether at the Queen's Park Oval or the Brian Lara Stadium. This year, it was finished last weekend, and we played it at the Queen's Park Oval. But we will continue playing the same amount of cricket, or even more red ball cricket.
Is it harder to get sponsorship for red ball cricket, Sean? Mr. Bassarat?
Sean, I didn't hear you.
Is it harder to get sponsorship for red ball cricket as opposed to white ball cricket?
I think in Trinidad, the boat is the same. People don't look at red ball or white ball. If they want to sponsor, we send a proposal, they looked at it, they accept the sponsor, they engage us in discussion, and they come on board, or either they don't come on board. But they don't look at whether it is red ball or white ball. They just want to, those companies who we have targeted, they came on board whether it is red or white.
Yeah, Reds.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Mr. Masserat whether the Friday, which is a working day, is the problem to get people off, and whether the assistance that he's requesting from his government could include maybe that kind of a situation. It's national cricket. Can they get the Friday off, or can they get paid if they have to take their own time off?
The culture in Trinidad is usually what happens is that they take their time off. Some of the clubs would pay the players, but Reds, we had several T10 tournaments in Trinidad since 2022 to 2025 last year, and those tournaments were played for 14 and 16 consecutive days, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, and no player had requested during those times and during those tournaments any letter for time off. They played their cricket, they came out, played their cricket. I didn't know if they took time off from the job, if they had a job, but every single player would have turned up during the course of those T10 tournaments, which they were paid for, and they played every single game.
Well,
okay.
That's the problem in Guyana. Time off is one. That is why it was used to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it's now 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And another problem is the availability of grounds, because funding to maintain clubs is a big issue. So many of the clubs won't give consecutive days to play 2-day cricket. They have to get a fundraising activity on Sunday. During the weekend. So, and another prohibiting factor is the rain. And now we've gotten rainstorms, thunderstorms, and the flooding and so on, as you would have looked at on the news and seen in Guyana. So those are problems that compound the non-presence of 3-day red ball cricket. And in Berbice, for instance, that's a problem also. The people don't want to play 3-day cricket, even second division, because they've got to work. And some of the players who are not just playing it for recreational purposes and have no interest in making a Guyana team or a West Indies team, they wouldn't sacrifice their job to play cricket on a Friday. So, are you satisfied with this year's the format? I know it's prohibited by the cost factor, the lack of funding, but next year you would like to see the tournament playing back in the normal format. I'm talking about regional cricket now.
Sean, this year was different because of the, as you rightly said, is because of the funding that CWI doesn't have at the moment. If it doesn't improve, I'm quite sure that management is going to propose the same thing for next year. But we have to get the funding. We have to find the funding if we are to increase the cricket for 2027. If you don't have the funding, you can't do it. You can't spend money that you don't have. And that has been the problem with Cricket West Indies. We know that everyone wasn't satisfied with this year's format, and there was a reason for it. You don't kill anyone for that. If they don't have money, you can't spend. Yeah. If you want to do an extension to your house and you don't have the money, you just can't do it. And we would love to have, 2 rounds of the 6 territorial teams play each other twice, as was happening before when the franchise system was now introduced, or either with 8 teams, the CCC team and the West Indies Cricket Academy teams. It all depends on the monies that is available, and we must take that into consideration. As I said before, we would love to see all teams playing as much cricket as possible. In Trinidad and Tobago, that is what we are doing. We are providing opportunities and tournaments for our cricketers to play. And I think it should be at the highest level also in the Caribbean. But it's because of something that it cannot happen. It's not that we have the funding and we don't want to spend the funding and we don't want the players to play cricket. We will love to see the players playing cricket throughout the year. And that, it is the major problem for us not having the amount of cricket that people really want us to provide for our cricketers.
Yeah, Red.
John? Yeah, no, I want to suggest to the Vice President of Cricket West Indies and the President of Trinidad Board that if you took the same money you spent, I wouldn't have had, as a cost-saving method, I wouldn't have had games in Jamaica. I would have had all in Antigua, simplify the traveling. I would have used the same money, the same days, to have a different format. As I'm saying to you that we could have had a total different format without any extra money if the director of cricket had seen it fit to mix the teams so that they each played each other. It wasn't a question of more money, it was the wrong format. It was a very outdated format because nobody wants to play against each other for 3 days, but on 3 occasions, as the case may be. Do you think, Azim, I have a point there?
But what I'm quite sure they looked at that also, Reds, because you would have had to bring across Jamaica team to Antigua, and then they would have had to put them in accommodation. You have to provide accommodation for them. Whereas in Jamaica, the Jamaica would have been responsible for their own accommodation. So that would have been additional money to spend. What West Indies Cricket Board do now is that, for example, for last year, when Trinidad played Guyana here in Trinidad, the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board had to provide accommodation for the Trinidad team because they are playing at home. And it would have cost additional funding had it all the teams play in one territory. We looked at that, and it will of course more money than how it was presently played.
But sir, you had to pay for accommodation for Barbados and Jamaica. That was not a freebie. You still had to pay accommodation for Barbados.
Yeah, but the Jamaican board is saying that the Jamaicans paid for that.
Jamaica?
He did not say that. He said Jamaica looked after the Jamaica expenses.
No, including accommodation rates. That is why I said when Trinidad played Guyana last year, the Trinidad Cricket Board had to provide accommodation for the Trinidad players.
But that's not a usual thing with home series. When you host a team, the regional board pays for that.
No, the territorial board have to pay now. A few years now, that has...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If that's not the same thing with the territorial boards paying for the hosting.
Yeah, no. But West Indies Cricket Board has implemented that a few years now, that if the team that is playing at home, they have to provide their own accommodation.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And,
their own board must pay for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And have anybody, you're second in command, thought of writing to CARICOM to ask the government to stand some of the money?
I'm not sure, Sean, if that was done, but I'm not sure whether CARICOM would have been willing to provide some assistance. CARICOM have their own problems as we speak, so maybe to burden them with cricket at this stage, it would have been.
But recently, I noticed that Guyana and Barbados, the New Zealand series was in jeopardy, and they put up money to share. Guyana has 3 of the 5 matches, and Barbados the other 2. And so that should be, if cricket is really to be helped and the CARICOM people love cricket, then the governments who could afford it must step up. That's my opinion.
Yeah, but we are hoping so too. We are hoping so too, and I will love to see that taking place. That CARICOM, come on board and try to assist CWI, or either ask the members of CARICOM to assist their territory as much as possible where cricket is concerned. Being Trinidad and Tobago, we usually get help, a lot of help, to prepare all of our national teams. And, we thank the government of Trinidad and Tobago for that. And I'm quite sure that if we go for more assistance, that, they will try their best to assist us. And I think what should happen is that all the other territorial boards, should go to the government, see whatever assistance they can get. I know in Barbados, with their lottery system and so on, every month they collect a tidy sum from their system.
And that's why Guyana had the gumption or the idea to pay for the 3 New Zealand matches, which weren't, it was in limbo, and Barbados obviously, as you said, had their lottery money and so could have paid for the other 2. And in addition to that, the government here is very supportive of sports. Charles Ramsingh, the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, good night to you. And also the new minister within the ministry is Stephen Jacobs, and he would have played at the regional level. He even played CPL, played for West Indies on the 19 team. So he has a good idea about the hardships that cricket go through. Well, he made it a point that it's not only for cricket, even though he's a former cricketer, it's for all sports. And so the president is a big cricket fan. He actually plays table cricket and plays it well. So we've got a government that supports sports.
Yeah, Stephen Jacob also played club cricket in Trinidad for quite a number of years.
Most Guyanese played club cricket in Trinidad, including me.
Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that the answer is CARICOM. The CARICOM has got their own budget responsibilities for a number of areas. But I want to go back with a question to the Vice President. And I'm not blaming the Vice President, but I think the marketing people of the West Indies Board, these people who are supposed to be knocking on the doors of sponsorship, failed to take up the opportunities that were there, which are now lost. I want to give you the example of Republic Bank. Republic Bank now is picked up by CPL. That should have been something which, it's been so automatic. That's a bank that got branches in just about every Caribbean island. And I felt the board made a mistake by missing out on that. I see that Nagico, that was once responsible for the Clive Lloyd tournament in Trinidad, the first one, they have now come on board for the CPL. And I think basically what I'm saying, the question is, whether in fact the marketing people, Mr. Vice President, have missed an opportunity to go away from CARICOM money, but to get the private sector to spend money, as the case of Republic Bank and Nagico and other sponsors that the CPL has been able to attract.
Well, you maybe have a point there, Reds, but I know for a fact that the marketing people, sometimes they are on the road, they visit different islands in the Caribbean, speaking to the business people. Maybe, we are not as attractive as CPL, but I know for a fact that they are knocking on doors and they have constantly are having meetings across the Caribbean. Just about maybe, I think, but it was during our T20 festival that Dario Barkley was in Trinidad here, having meetings with some people who would have shown some interest in West Indies cricket. We haven't heard anything further, but I know he was there because he was at the cricket and I met him on a couple of occasions. So I know even when Rupert Hunter was our marketing person, he traveled a lot across the Caribbean to knocking on doors and so on. But I understand what you are saying. A major sponsor and a major entity as Republic Bank, should have been with CWI. They are with CWI now doing the children's program, the 5 for Fun program across the Caribbean. I think there are across quite a few territories now: Guyana, Trinidad, St. Lucia, I think St. Kitts and Barbados. I don't know for other countries, but they are in those territories, doing the grassroots program and in the primary school.
And congratulations to Bihari group of companies in Guyana. They've coordinated with the Guyana Cricket Board and the Ministry of Education to host a national schools cricket program. When I played for Guyana at youth level, those were things that were normal. So it's not reinventing the wheel, but it's just coming back to this situation here where we got so much cricket, because when I played there was never T20 and so on. So this is what they've done. They've Essequibo, Berbice, and Demerara. They've got 80 schools and they've put them into zones, and they are funding the thing, and with sponsors, of course, the government through the Ministry of Sports have chipped in, and the cricket board will run the format. We were talking with Chris Dering on a program recently, and he said the problem with sponsors, he named Caribbean Airlines. He said that the board spends so much money in transporting teams with Caribbean Airlines, and when you talk to them, they've not sponsored a single tournament in the regional cricket on the 19 and upwards. So that's another issue.
But Sean, I think if you really want to get sponsor, you have to keep knocking on the door. Yeah. In Trinidad and Tobago here, this year, 2026, we went out, looked for sponsor since October, after the elections, our elections last year, October. And we got sponsor for every single one of our tournaments that we wanted to host. And business people came on, when they looked at the proposal, they loved the proposal, and there was no need, I think at no time did we have a second meeting with them. They would have indicated very early on. We had under 13 cricket, and not only one under 13 group per se, and we had to provide opportunities for a reserve league in the under 13, because so many children turn out at the different zones that when they turn back after they select their 14 players to play in the interzone tournament, a lot of children have to be turned back, children crying and so on. So what we did was that we provide an opportunity for a second team in I think 6 zones out of the 8 zones, the 7 zones and Tobago. 6 zones, they had a tournament similarly to the under 15 level. And in the reserve league, in the under 15, in the reserve league, in the final, a young man made 100 who didn't qualify to play in his first team. He made 100 in the reserve league final, and he was selected. He was selected in the North-South game, which is the final game that we have in Trinidad. There are those age groups to select when we select in the national team. So sponsors love those things, especially for children. I know we're speaking about big people, but if we try to get sponsors for our youth tournaments, I think it is very easier to get sponsors for all youth tournaments.
Well, I commend your type of persistence with getting sponsorships. There was a man called, Hilbert Foster, the former Guyana vice president of the West Indies board and president of the Barbies board. But he was a good man in getting sponsorship. He followed up it, and Barbies cricket was well sponsored. And we've lost lots of people due to politics and all sorts of different things, but I wouldn't get into that tonight. And another point I wanted to make was that in Guyana, it's easy to get sponsorship if you approach these people. There are lots of people that like cricket, and it's easier in Trinidad because Trinidad has the second biggest population of the English-speaking countries apart from Jamaica. And they're the commercial capital of the West Indies, so most likely it would be easier there than any other place to get sponsorship. So as we say goodnight to Basil Butcher, who's now joined us, it's a good time to go for a pause for a business cause, and then we'll come right back.
Surprise your family today with a nice vanilla-flavored cake made with Maid Marian cake flour. It's perfect for the birthday, anniversary, special occasion, or just celebrating the joy of having your family together. So get a pack or two of Maid Marian cake flour to make that moist, fluffy, vanilla-flavored sponge cake, donut-shaped cakes, Swiss rolls, and other delicious baked goods. Bring on the smiles with Maid Marian cake flour. Made and packaged not by hand by Nomilco, the National Milling Company of Guyana.
National Milling Company of Guyana. Dave's West Indian Imports is a wholesaler of all types of seafood with their own processing plant. Dave supplies supermarkets, restaurants, hotels, and bars. Place your orders now on telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. With fresh seafood daily, Dave's offers custom cuts of your choice: snapper, trout, banger, gillback, shrimp, crab, and more. Order today. Dave's, Guyana's largest exporter to the USA.
Finger licking good, yeah, yeah. Got me in the mood for sharing. Come and join the party at KFC. Get a sing a sandwich, I take a bite. It's the best flavor, best vibes. Get a bucket with your friends, pass it to the left. And have the best time of your life. Finger licking good, yeah, yeah. Got me in the mood for sharing. Come and join the party at KFC, at KFC.
Igloo sugar-free ice cream. Sugar-free ice cream.
Impossible that you're singing about ice cream without added sugar right now. I mean, how's that going to taste?
It's the best, most delicious I've ever tasted. The premium French vanilla flavor is so rich and velvety. Plus, my gym instructor approves. It's great for my weight loss.
So it's really delicious? Like you aren't kidding me? The children! No added sugar could be healthier for them. And Grandpa Glenn, with his diabetic condition. You mean he could finally enjoy desserts after all these years? I have to go. I have to get this.
Grab Igloo's sugar-free ice cream before she does.
With 70% ethyl alcohol, Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer eliminates 99.99% of all germs and even moisturizes in the process, leaving your skin clean and hydrated. Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer. How do you stay clean? With 70% ethyl alcohol, Mighty Foam.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Yeah, well, welcome back to the Sean Devers Sports Watch. as we were talking about sponsorship. That's a good idea, because you just give your money because, well, all of my sponsors love cricket, but that's not the main reason that they're putting money into my program. Of course, they want mileage. And from next week, in addition to 99.1 FM in Demerara and 99.5 FM, that's on the radio, well, you wouldn't get to see, but you would hear the same ads. But from next week, we're using video ads now on my YouTube and Facebook programs. So we can get more visibility for the sponsors, and that's a good thing. I haven't told them yet, but that's a thing that we'll do. My operator says that can be done, so we'll get video ads. Good evening to you, Basil. You're joining the program.
Good evening, John. Good evening to the VP. Good evening to Reds.
Good evening. Good evening.
You want to ask anything? Because I know you like to ask a lot of questions.
You said something there about the sponsorship, and I think another avenue is with the streaming has become
the streaming. All the matches now are streamed.
Local cricket matches.
Yeah.
I think that's another way in which, when you speak to sponsors, how they can give more visibility to whatever services or products that they have, because it is not only to their local market, it is to the global market, because it's people from all over the world that's watching. And if they have a product or a service that can actually be exported abroad, that's good visibility for them. So that is something, domestic competition, because, like, for example, in Barbados, you can watch their local cricket matches on YouTube on the weekends. They got a decent setup, and that's something I think the other territories need to look at as a means in which they can bring more sponsorship to their competitions and so on and so forth.
Mr. Basurat, what do you think about that idea?
Yeah, well, fantastic idea. That is also being done in Trinidad, but not all the matches. What we do is that we try to get the main match, main two matches, high profile matches for the weekend. We try to get that streamed. Also, what we with our youth tournaments, every single final was streamed. So when we point that out to sponsors, they really like that idea too, and they know for a fact that they are going to get more mileage with the streaming. So Basil is quite correct in that respect.
So you think that could be replicated at the regional level, where all the youth tournaments and so on are streamed, and now there's no radio commentary, there's just TV commentary in the YouTube?
Well, I know some of the youth tournaments are streamed.
Yes.
Up to last year, we had the under-17 tournament here, and it was streamed. I know the under-15 is also streamed.
Yeah. All of them are usually streamed. All of them. But that's also a good way for us who don't no longer live in the region, for us to keep up with our domestic cricket in our respective territories. Because I would think, if just use a Guyana for example, guys said GCC was playing DCC and the game was on, I'm sure many of the former members of both clubs that live abroad would have interest and tune in, so all of those things, when a sponsor will see 3,000 people watching the game, but at the ground you got about 50, it tells you how much more the reach of the streaming is in terms, and you're able to secure sponsorship for your cricket.
Yeah, Reds, you want to make an input now?
I would just like to comment on the switch from radio ball by ball, which I think is still very much relevant.
And I think in weekends in Barbados, they do 15-minute segments ball by ball on the local cricket.
Well, I'm making a different point. I'm saying that ball by ball is important because the little man up in Western Jamaica, the little man in Tulupuna, the little guy up in Rose Hall, the little guy down in Viewport might not have a television, might not have facilities to watch the streaming. So ball by ball is still important.
Yes.
The little taxi driver, right? So I've made that point separately. What I want to point out, especially to the panel, is that there is streaming, which is good, which is, as Baz said, exposure. People can watch from all over the world. And because people are watching from all over the world, there should be maybe a certain amount of training for the switch from ball by ball to streaming. I don't know if Azam has followed maybe as closely as me being a former old head. I listen, I watch, I follow. There is still the tendency for people to be doing ball by ball whilst doing the streaming.
Yes.
I don't have to say, and Sean comes in and bowls to Butcher, and Butcher drives to the top.
Already.
No.
But, you know, it's one thing to say you recognize it. What is being done by the individual station? What's being done by the West Indies board in terms of training the commentators in general? I'm not talking about the Ian Bishops, you know, the Marley Richards, etc. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the average man getting a chance to go and do streaming. I think there need to be a sophisticated training that everybody is seeing the cricket now.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just painting it for somebody who's listening miles away. And there is a tendency, Azam, for ball by ball being done on the streaming. Nobody has to say, and Pereira comes in, bowls to Bassarat. Bassarat turns that away to square leg. They might say, well, again, Bassarat looks very strong off the leg.
Got to be more analytical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
John, I don't need you to explain the point I'm making, all right?
Sorry, sir. You're my mentor.
Mr. Bassarat, do you think I have a point there?
Of course, and don't think that was never considered. It was considered to enter some training for people who not only people who do in streaming, but journalists on the whole who do the sport and do cricket. But because again of funding to get them into one place, I remember once in the discussion they talked about doing it online, but some concern was raised whether, you know, they are going to get the reach if they're doing something online. Just like a meeting. If you have a meeting in person, you will tend to get more out from that meeting than if you have the meeting online. So that was a discussion, and I want to give you the assurance that it was something that was discussed, and I'm quite sure as soon as things improve at the board, you know, it will be dealt with.
All right, let's talk now about tomorrow's match, West Indies versus Sri Lanka. West Indies team, as I said, it being released too late. I got my information from my friend in Antigua, so I published it on my Facebook, and the next day the West Indies board released it after I published it on my Facebook. But however, Hope is the captain. Campbell, Augusti, Carter, Chase, Ford, Greaves, Hetmeyer, Jangu, Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Moti, Seals, Rutherford, and Springer. Well, this is excluding Mr. Bassarat, unless he wants to discuss it. What are your thoughts on that team, Reds and Basil? Reds first. Kaieteur senior.
Well, I don't believe that there are too many surprises. I thought that coming out of the recent tournament in Antigua, that there might have been an opportunity maybe to slip in one or two players. But they have obviously decided that Hope will keep. So there was no opportunity for, let's say, the silver to be exposed again in the white format. So there's no big surprises, really and truly. I'm somewhat little uncertain of why Hetmai is only available for one game. And I speak frankly and honestly, because he left, as far as I know, India 4 days before the IPL got completed. One would have thought he would have gone home, see his family, look after things regarding personal matters. And as a contracted player, he would have been made available for all matches. I don't know, Sean, Baz, whether that has passed through your mind.
Yeah, that was my next question on Basil.
Yeah, Reds and Mr. VP, Sean. I didn't see any great surprises in the team myself. Your query too, when I heard Hetmyer is only available for the third match, that was a little strange to me, because then if he was not available for the first two, maybe instead you could have exposed somebody else.
Yes, I'm putting in if he's available for the 2020, which is likely to be.
That was the one pretty much my concern when I looked through the team. Regarding when I saw the release that he is only available for the third match. That was the only concern I had. And I would, that being so, I would have liked to see maybe you could expose another batsman, because hell, the more batters we can get exposed at the next level, to see, because the World Cup is before we know it, it will be here, because it's a little bit over a year from now, in South Africa. And the more players that we could get a look at and push other guys who are in the team at the moment, it would be good.
But being the devil's advocate, if that is so, then we need to win as much matches as possible. And the thinking is with Hetmyer in the last match, we could win that match. So that will be 3 wins if we win all. And that would be closer to qualifying. We've got to win.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. But suppose the other batters are doing good. You're not gonna drop them for Hetmyer in the last game. So
that's a point too.
Yeah. So that's just the concern there. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Basarat, you want to add anything?
No. I think it's the best team. The availability of the players is the best team that was selected.
And I noticed CWI is saying that because Django has a injury, he cannot throw, but he can bat and he can keep. So he will obviously be the second keeper instead of the Silver, or instead of anybody else.
Yeah, but the team is a good team, and we must try to win as many matches as possible to ensure of our qualification for the World Cup. We shouldn't take any chances. I don't think we should chance anything at all, but we should go out and try to win every single match. And there's no time now for trial and to put people, try in this one.
I concur with that point.
Yeah, it's to win.
Yeah, Basil.
No. I
was about to ask.
I agree with Mr. Basrat. Because you got 11 matches, 11 matches to play before the cutoff to determine this. What ranking you will be, whether you automatically qualify or not. So you got to win all the matches, irrespective. You got eight here in the Caribbean in the next couple months, so you want to win every game.
Yeah, Reds.
Yeah, I want to raise this question with the Vice President because he could not be maybe happy that his fellow president of the Jamaica board is worried about the ticket sales, is worried about the attendance. Basically, we must remember this is a midweek Wednesday in Jamaica. I don't think it's a holiday, but I think the Vice President will do maybe the journalist a favor if he can inquire why the team was released so late. For example, the team was released on Sunday. That in itself is disappointing. Yet the people, Azim, did not organize a press conference on Monday morning for the West Indies coach, for the West Indies manager, the Sri Lankan coach, the Sri Lankan manager. So that press conference would have just burst open in the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. Today we just saw Hope making a very short statement. And I think that somebody is sleeping at the wheel. And as Vice President, I really feel that you should ask the question, why are the teams coming out so late? You know, I mean, the team that is going to Sri Lanka, that's traveled when?
They left already. They left today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look at how the team was announced and their departure. Mr. Vice President, you follow the game. Sri Lanka has named 3 different teams for the West Indies. Okay, they got more players. New Zealand named a team to play against Ireland. They got all their players to play against England. That is well in advance. There is no reason, Mr. Vice President, that the people involved in PR should not be a little more proactive and get the information out. Don't you think, sir, that the regional cry, and this is a regional cry, I don't know if Sean and Basil is going to back me.
Yes, I was asking everybody I could when the team is going to be released, and I got it from my friend in Jamaica, in Antigua, eventually.
Well, Mr. Vice President, do you think we have a point?
Of course, a very good point, and not only on this issue, there are other issues too that I personally think that information should have come much more earlier. And there are other things too that I'm quite sure. There is a meeting in Antigua on the 27th of June at the end of the month. And I'm sure that other directors will raise certain questions. And I'm full agreement with you. The team should have been released and selected before. The director of cricket is supposed to be following up with the different coaches. But the head coach of the team, and try to get the team. I know there was a small camp in Antigua, where after the regional 4-day tournament. Mm-hmm. So everybody was there, and I'm quite sure lots of discussion would have taken place. And I'm in agreement with you, Reds, that the team should have been released earlier.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go for another short commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll continue with this discussion.
Now Milko has done it again. We've listened to you, and now available nationwide. Another convenient size packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. It's here. The 5 kg or 11 pounds new packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. Now available at your nearest supermarket.
Now Milko, National Milling Company of Guyana.
For more than 3 decades, Dave's West Indian Imports has been supplying the demands of Guyanese living in the USA with their favorite Guyanese products. Pomeroon coconut water, fresh fish, shrimp and crab, champion chow mein, icy sodas, golden cream margarine, wiri wiri pepper, katahar and kazrib, just to name a few. If you have family from Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, Dave's has them covered too. 9807 97th Avenue, Ozone Park, New York, only 5 minutes away from Liberty Avenue. 11808 Liberty Avenue, Richmond Hill, New York. 7505 New Hampshire Cedar Avenue, Tacoma Park, Maryland, the Caribbean market. Dave's West Indian Imports, supplying the best of the Caribbean to the USA.
Sundays are for KFC Sunday Special Bucket Deal. Buy a 6 or 9 piece bucket meal and get an extra piece of crispy, juicy chicken. Or go big with a 15 or 20 piece bucket meal and get 2 extra pieces. That's even more of your KFC favorites to share. So gather the family, call your friends, and make it a Sunday feast like no other. Only at KFC, where Sundays are made tastier. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
It's here! Igloo Ice Cream Fruit Bars. 4 mouth-watering flavors. Mango, pineapple, strawberry, and soursop. A beautiful combination of real fruit and igloo ice cream. Go old school with fluty popsicle. Classic flavors and refreshing goodness. Available at Igloo outlets and all your favorite shops.
Cleaning power like no other. Mighty Foam dishwashing liquid cuts through grease and grime every time. Lemon zest, green apple, citrus burst, and wild berry. 4 great fragrances specially formulated with super cleaning, grease-fighting power. Mighty Foam dishwashing liquid works hard to get your dishes spotless and is gentle on your hands. Available nationwide.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, Qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Yeah, well, welcome back to the Sean Dever Sports Watch. Just about 29 minutes getting up to the hour of 9 o'clock on another wet and windy night here in downtown Georgetown, across all of Guyana, because we've got a forecast that says it's going to be pouring rain for the next couple of days, thunderstorms included. And as I said, the streets are flooded, and the government and the city council and everybody's got more work to do, draining and irrigation and all those things. So, Reds, what do you see has to be done to get the sponsors involved? Because sponsors want to see the product. If you go to a supermarket or a baker and he has stale bread, you wouldn't see nobody there. But if you have good, nice, hot bread and tennis rolls, well, a lot of people, except Guyanese, would know what is tennis rolls, would line up. There'd be long lines. So what do you think has to be done to bring sponsors, and with it the people, because sponsors want the people to be involved. That's how they get their product sold. The product is the cricketers, and we blame, rightfully so, the administrators sometimes, but the players themselves has to step up. My ex-wife stopped watching cricket when Lara and Sarwan and those people finished, because she said that there's nobody attracting her to come and watch the cricket. And that's why 2020 cricket is just about the hype, the fun and the party. And a lot of people go to 2020, younger people, they don't even know about the game, but that's and you can't do that in Test cricket or one day. That atmosphere, you can't beat drums and play music and get a party. So what can be done to increase the product and make it available and viable for sponsors and the public to want to be part of it? Reds Pereira.
Well, it's easier for the individual boards to get sponsorship. It's easier for the individual boards to get sponsorship. It's easier to get sponsorship for the white ball game than the red ball game.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that the vice president will agree or he can disagree is that if you have a winning team, you get regional sponsors. And I just like to Baz to know that I suggested to the vice president that the people responsible on the board for sponsorship attraction missed out on, for example, a Republic Bank. I don't want to go back to that. That's already done.
Yeah.
Until we start winning again, climbing the ladder from 8 to about 4, and the brand becomes successful as it was during all our time as young people. Sponsorship by the West Indies board will always be difficult to find. But I think the marketing people have got to be a lot more proactive. I think there are sponsors in the Caribbean which are being a missed opportunity by the West Indies board, And I really feel that it's a catch-22 situation. Your team is not doing well. Here's hoping that will change. Here's hoping a number of things will also change in 2027. So we can maybe have a different approach to team building. And if the team does well, for example, if they did as well in the World Cup, that's a win-win situation. I don't know if Vice President Bastarat shared the same view.
Of course. If with a winning team, it is much easier to attract sponsors, and not only in cricket, but in any sport. You're winning, you're on top of the wall, and people, you may not even have to approach sponsors. Sponsors may approach you.
Mm-hmm. They want to be on the bandwagon.
Yes, exactly. And I think when we start to win again, I think we are going to get sponsors coming to us.
I want to also add, we got to produce exciting cricketers, right? Because those are what pull. Because even when we started losing and Lara was still playing, the place was still packed up. Because Lara's brilliance was worth the money coming to the ground, regardless of what the result would have been. So we have to, and that's where I think one of the focuses, and we have to intensely focus on the development of our players in all the different territories and raising the standards and professionalizing the game. And when I mean professional, not paying, in the way everything is organized,
the way they behave, and
etc.
They perform
in all the territories, because the territories is where the players are produced, and we want those players to, develop, as we would call it, those of us, all of us old enough, some of you guys older than me, the West Indian way, which is exciting, right? And that's what would bring also to see exciting players, because even in team sports today, you find the leagues and so on, they push out all their top players, individual. They don't market teams anymore. They market players, right? So if you we start to produce really exciting players in all the formats, I think sponsors would love to jump on the coattails, so to speak.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And there's a benefit and a disadvantage of the streaming of local cricket. And I'm talking about cricket in the different regional boards areas. When you say intercounty in Guyana, on the 19 intercounty or even a senior intercounty, it gives the impression that we don't have cricketers. When the world looks at it, how they play, and that's advantage they're being exposed. So they've got to take that advantage of being exposed and perform. But you don't see that. When you look at some of the matches, teams being bowled out for 34, 26, in Guyana Intercounty I'm talking about, or even the local matches, that's deplorable.
Yeah, but also that also could light a fire under the seat of the local administrators to get their act together to develop in the process of developing players, because now the product is being exposed to the world. Is no longer in the little circle of whichever local area. Because look, I often tune in to Barbados, BCA, watching their local matches, and I would see a bunch of fat guys running around on the field, and I know in the times when I was growing up, you didn't see fat people play cricket like you see it more normal today, so and when more and more people like myself who were watching living abroad and would make these comments to those local things, they were taking it and realize that, look, man, we gotta up our game, because I'll even tell you, I remember having a conversation with Carl Hooper, and he watches any kind of streaming cricket in the region. He watches, and the thing he said to me, he doesn't gauge, and I agreed with him. He doesn't gauge the advancement of our cricket based on what our international team is doing. He gauges it by when he watches at our little domestic cricket, the standard of our cricket, and all of us here know, when we went in the halcyon times, the standard of club cricket, etc., was of a high standard. So that reflected as the guys went up to the highest level. So that's what the thing he says and that's one of the reasons, me per se, when I look at regional cricket, I don't care really who win.
Yeah.
I look at it to see who's coming through. Who's promising, yeah. Mm-hmm. Me too. I look at that, especially at the youth level. Yeah, I'm really happy, because I remember when I left and I went away, you had to buy Kaieteur annual, and you'd read up about the Shell Shield and what's going on. And now it's great that you could actually see these players without somebody giving you second or third hand information.
Another thing I want to say, I don't know if these players, I just looked at a West Indies England match back in 1996 or something. I wonder if these players actually look at cricket and see what the older folks were doing to be.
No, well, Sean, I could tell you, I was stunned. I was on a program several months ago when Barbados youth came to Guyana, and after they went back, they were on the radio program, including the youngster who was the Guyana captain, the coach, the captain. His sister has played for the West Indies, Gajnabi, and then they had two youngsters from Barbados. And the CEO of Cricket West Indies was on the program, and the question was asked to those youngsters if they watch West Indies cricket. And to my unpleasant surprise, all three of the youngsters said no. Young Gajnabi said, check them out once in a while.
And that means it's present West Indies cricket?
There is no way our generation at that time you would ever hear saying something like that. So that reflected to me, again, where our cricket is, and we really have to get at the ground floor. Like I asked, the last time me and Vice President was on, we spoke about the club cricket, and he was telling me in Trinidad about the then Prime Minister, the President or whatever, was earmarking money to help to subsidize because of the club struggling. And that is something that is region wide. All over the region, clubs are struggling. So when we talk about sponsorship, it's not only for the cricket, but these clubs are as entities are struggling. And one of the things I noticed, I just want to just find a quick point. when I'm watching the Barbados games, and VP could chime in because I think it's similar in Trinidad, you see a name of a sponsor in front of the club. So now a lot of these clubs in Barbados are getting sponsorship by various companies, and they carry the name of that entity along with their club name.
Well, that is widespread in Trinidad also, especially at the Premiership level. 26 clubs that play there. It is on their shoot. More so, to some of the clubs will have gotten more sponsors coming on board while the T20 is being played, the T20 festival. So the sponsor realized the benefit of coming on board with these clubs. Although it is a small amount of funding they will push to the clubs, but it's something that is coming, and there are signs that if you work hard and you attack the right people, clubs are going to be funded.
That's
before
why
you came on, Basil. Before you came, I spoke about getting assistance for the clubs in Trinidad, especially the bigger clubs, because for our cricket to improve and cricket to improve across the Caribbean, we must have our club cricketers playing more cricket.
Yes.
And for example, in Trinidad, we only play at the highest level Saturday and Sunday cricket. Our red ball cricket at that level is supposed to be played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that is supposed to be replicated across the Caribbean. You cannot have that only being played in Trinidad and Barbados and expect West Indies cricket to rise. It will not work.
I agree.
So, similarly, in Trinidad here, what we do at all our age group tournaments, and as I said earlier too, that in the under 13 and under 15s, we had to find a reserve league, money for a reserve league in that age group, because the amount of children that came to the screening and coaching session, some of them left in tears, and we had no other choice but to call them back, put them let the zones put them on a team and had a reserve league. All our cricket from under 19 coming down, we play 50 over cricket.
Good.
And we played 50 overs, and we play it with the red ball.
With the red ball. Yeah. Excellent.
We don't play any youth cricket. You will not see any youth cricket in Trinidad under the auspices of the TTCB playing white ball cricket at all. We don't do that.
That's excellent. That's excellent because Barbados, I know in Barbados they play Saturday, Sunday, and then they finish off the fall like how we used to do it in Ghana in years past.
When I played at First Division, we played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, I heard that when you guys had done that. But historically, as Rez would know, it would be Saturday, Sunday. You finish off the game the following Saturday.
And then you play the one day the next day.
Or if you got one day cricket or whatever, or you start the next game that Sunday and you continue. That was like the first and what we call Case Cup and North Court. The White Cup, which was third division, would be just Saturday, Sunday. And this is and we in Guyana, like Georgetown, they face, and Sean could speak a lot on this. One of the problems, Mr. VP, is if these, because of how the club's struggling.
Yes, I explained that to him before you joined.
Yes, all right. Somebody come and say, look, you are rent out the ground.
Fundraising activity on your ground, you can't get 2 consecutive days.
The game get forfeited because the club need the money.
Yeah.
And that is one of the hurdles that has to be crossed for the cricket to prosper.
And that's why I have a lot of respect and regard for Mr. Foster. Because his teams, Rose Hall, you got Nalico, Rose Hall Town, and when the report goes into the papers, you've got the sponsorship with the sponsor with the team. So you got Nalico, Rose Hall Town, you got this Rose Hall Town, you got that Rose Hall Town, and that's the official name of the team. So you can't take out the sponsor. So he's got a way to get the sponsor's name involved, just like how Mr. Bassarat was saying. On the grounds outside, and you were saying too that there's signs. That's the club. They sponsor the club.
Yeah, and to VP, as West Indies cricket, from a West Indies cricket board perspective, in helping at the local, because they have more expertise in seeking out sponsor, the process, the kind of proposal you would write and so on. And I would suggest that maybe they can have forums in the various territories for the clubs to understand how to put together a package, if you will, or a proposal that they could go out and seek sponsorship. Because a lot of these people, we know, they're volunteers, they're not really versed in this new environment of going out and get sponsorship. And that's something I think CWI could help out with them.
Well, that's Red Sparrow's pet topic. Teams instead of clubs. You gotta
what
get
we are doing in
clubs.
Trinidad as we speak, we have a committee that looks after the club development.
Mm-hmm.
And we embrace and we request from the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago and the Ministry of Sport, these persons who are qualified and who know about proposals and constitution and those type of things. Yeah.
Excellent.
And they are going out to the different zones, the 7 zones across Trinidad.
Mm-hmm.
We are hoping to go to Tobago sometime in July and have these seminars with these clubs then.
Excellent.
Teaching them the simple thing like the duties of a president, secretary, treasurer, vice president, and so on, and PRO, and teaching them how to do proposal. What these people have done is in 2 or 3 of the areas already, is that they indicated to them that if they come from 4 o'clock, they can sit with them one-on-one and help them with proposals and so on. So we are doing that as we speak, and it is helping in a very, very big way.
Excellent.
I cannot thank the Sport Company and the people at the Ministry of Sport for doing that. It is a proposal, a discussion that we had sometime last year during the Super 50 tournament, and that came to fruition. I think the first session took place sometime in February. So it is being done, and I agree with you. That is something that will go a long way.
Yes.
To assist clubs.
Yeah, Reds.
Well, I think
you've written a lot on teams and clubs.
Yes, because the club structure is disappearing.
Yeah.
We have teams, and unless the powers that be at the government level, and I'm not talking about any one country, unless the powers that be at the government level, at the Olympic Committee level, at the association level, come up with a simple constitution which says you have to have a non-playing executive. So you start to pull in people from different walks of life. The club structure is the lifeblood of sport in the Caribbean.
Yes.
And it's not being emphasized. It's not being emphasized. You have pickup teams, you have a manager. that is not going to help.
Especially in the rural areas.
Yeah.
Well, wherever. But what Vice President Bassarat just said, John, is maybe something that the National Sports Council could duplicate.
In all the very territories, yes.
Can the National Sports Council carry out the same kind of training or offer the same kind of training that the sports company in Trinidad is doing?
Yep.
So maybe that is something, Sean, you can suggest in your column, that the National Sports Commission could help to improve the club structure, not just in cricket, but in every discipline. But I just want to come back to the VP regarding the promotion of not only West Indies cricket, but regional cricket. Sometimes and this has happened quite a lot. People tell you that I remember talking to Randy, who shoots for the West Indies board. When he comes in, I give him one example. Man, so what you here for? I'm here for the regional cricket. I ain't know any cricket being played here. Now, I do not believe enough promotion is being done in terms of the regional cricket. Not enough promotion, and unless the board, for example, a team is arrive, and it's similar to what happened in Jamaica. Teams arrive, nobody have a press conference on Monday. A team arrive, there are many talk shows left, right, and center. Get the manager and the coach to go down to radio station X, radio station Y, get a press conference where television can come and shoot a couple of statements. But we continue, VP, to have empty stands. And sometimes I ask myself, can we attract the women free? Can we attract retired people who is on pension, who are doing nothing? Special appeal for pensioners to come free of charge. Is it difficult, you think, Vice President?
Well, in Guyana, most cricket, 4-day cricket, first class cricket is free and still don't get nobody.
No, but is it promoted to the
Nobody
nation?
knows that there's a match. Well, very few people. And that I agree with you. That's the biggest problem, the lack of promotion of regional cricket.
Yeah.
I remember going into Jamaica. I went through Moby and I met Lambert's sister. And she knows about cricket. And she said, well, she knew me from Lambert. And she said, Sean, what are you here for on holiday? I said, no, I came to cover cricket. She said, they got cricket here? Nobody knows that there's cricket. Same thing with Trinidad, Antigua, everywhere.
Yeah. What we have to do, we must improve in that, Reds, and I'm agreeing with you. But it's also left upon the territorial boards is the one who is liaising directly with CWI, and they are well aware of this cricket coming to the territory. And we are no exception here in Trinidad. That sometimes we have people who are doing our socials pages and so on, and those people just don't put up on our social media platforms the cricket, and it is very easy to advertise the cricket on those platforms because there are thousands of people on those platforms, and the people just lazy and not doing it. It is something that we must do. We have to do better if we really want to spread the word and let people know that cricket is coming into the territory. It happens in Trinidad, as Sean rightly say. It's happening in Trinidad too, and people have to take the responsibility. Sometimes also that Cricket West Indies wait too late to really advertise and send out the information. For example, tickets. We want to go online and I'll ask people to purchase tickets online. I could use a computer, I could use an iPad, a phone sometime, but there are many people who don't have just as you said before, they don't have the means of seeing the cricket streaming. But those people want to have a ticket in their hand too, right? The man who 20, 30 years ago used to be walking the street with his radio at his ears, he wants to have a ticket in his hand to feel good to enter the stadium. And we must not, and I do not support the idea of selling these tickets online. People could purchase, those people could purchase, but you must also be able, and not a week before, about 3 weeks before, a month before, let us have the ticket booths open on special days so that people, I and you, could go and purchase our ticket.
Yeah.
It is a big help that if we do that, what we will be doing to our senior folks.
Yeah, and when I was in Barbados, when England plays West Indies in Barbados, you see Europeans in the stands because the tickets are sold out electronically and they could buy it. and so there's no tickets left for the locals. It's like you're playing in Bridgetown in England, Kensington Oval in England.
Yeah, Reds, as you spoke about tickets for pensioners and so on, I know for a fact that free tickets are given to people over the age of 65, I believe. That is there for them. They have to go and collect it at the box.
And CPL gives tickets to children in certain
walk with
days.
a copy of an ID. And I think over the past couple of years to CWI have given tickets for school children and cricket academies. In Trinidad here, we get up to about 500-600 tickets every day for the different cricket academies that we have and schools that we want to provide tickets for to get people into the stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I understand in Jamaica for the 1 days, 1,000, they're expecting 1,000 children island wide to come in to see the cricket. And yeah, I mean, we gotta understand our society. This is not the United States or the Canada or England or whatever, people going online and doing everything. We still got a lot of people don't even have access to internet in many of our territories. We assume that, right? So we got to remember that and have the hard copy ticket available.
Yes.
And even if you have internet access, you don't have the technological experience or knowledge to get into the system to buy a ticket.
So you got to meet the people where they're at and provide. If you want people to come, you got to meet them where they're at so you can get them to come to the game. So you have all the options open to everybody.
Yes, agreed.
Mr. Bassarat, a quick point, a suggestion. It's going to be cheaper, like what they used to do in the old days, to get the Shell Shield from Friday to Monday, and Wednesday they used to play the Gettys Grant Harrison line. So those two tournaments are in one country. Instead of now, you got the Super 50 months away, most times November, and the 4-day in April and so on. So it wouldn't be a good idea to revert back to those days if you want to save more?
Yeah, but that was a discussion that was held last year too. So the department is looking at different means and different ways of having these tournaments to make it much more cheaper to host than having a separate period of time for the Super 50. So all those things are being looked at.
Any final thoughts, Rex, or questions?
Yeah, I just want to add on to what VP said there because I think one of the difficulties today is the cricket calendar has become.
Yes, remember those days it was never 2020.
Yeah,
and that took a big chunk out of the calendar.
Yeah, because if you were going to play, doing it like as you just suggested, like it used to be done, that means you prolong the season and you may run into hitting other things that could be going on in your domestic season because you see all the countries around the world, and unfortunately we in the Caribbean we get put in a weird situation unless we're gonna start our cricket season say in October, or regional cricket season that is, say in October, and run it over to probably around March of the following year, that you could play, say maybe some first class, and then you stop and you play the 50 over, and then you continue and finish off with the first class like they do in many of the other nations around the world.
Yeah, but that's a thought too. I think that also was part of a discussion. Mm-hmm. But if the idea that Sean brought up in respect to play the game Friday to Monday and then maybe Wednesday play, it will be much cheaper to host a regional tournament.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
that's how they used to do it. That's how they used to do it back in the days.
Yeah.
We were the best, and we were the best in the world in both formats when we were doing that.
Yes,
that's right.
And another suggestion or a question: why is there must have to be some logical answer to this? Why they start the match on Thursday and not Friday. And that would have captured the weekend, and the Monday would have been the last. If you start Friday, you would get the persons who come off from work Friday and the persons who come the weekend, and then Monday would be the last day. Why would they start on a Thursday?
Well, I wouldn't be able to answer that question, but maybe because teams travel Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday they practice and rest and then Tuesday they start the game. But it all depends on the travel days.
I was told that has to do with the travel days.
Yeah, unfortunately in the Caribbean we don't have a lot of airlines traversing. Yeah. So we don't have the options like maybe in the past.
Exactly.
Reds, anything else?
Yes, I'd like to have a final question about female cricket and women's cricket, whatever you want to call it. Trinidad and Tobago is the only country of cricket West Indies that have, as far as I know, 6 clubs of female cricket.
And they've got leagues too. Guyanese and Bajans and everybody go there, females.
Yeah, as I was saying, Mr. Vice President, I don't believe the West Indies board, and this is my honest, you can disagree with me if you want. The West Indies board has put enough finance, especially when they have money, into women's cricket. We don't have clubs for women, except maybe in Trinidad and Tobago. Do you think, sir, that the West Indies board has maybe been a little lacking in really investing so local cricket can be played? Our girls in secondary schools, Mr. VP, play everything: netball, swimming, basketball, volleyball, run track, hockey. They do not play cricket. Isn't it possible that the West Indies board could maybe meet the ministers of sport in the region and see if cricket could be introduced at the secondary school level, so we could start the nursery at age 15, age 16? Schools must play.
Yeah, let me just say, I think it is the responsibility of the territorial boards to
agree. Yes.
In Trinidad and Tobago, we have 14 women's clubs playing in our domestic season. On Sunday coming is the final of the championship and also the Premier League women's tournament at the National Cricket Center. I think the territorial boards must take responsibility. It should not be West Indies Cricket Board.
I agree.
And this program by Bihari Group of Companies for the 80 school teams I was telling you about, that's for girls and boys.
And Reg, there is a secondary schools cricket league in Trinidad that have over 100, maybe 140 schools playing cricket. There are different divisions. There's a girls tournament. My granddaughter plays for the Barco East Secondary School. She in Form 1, because of maybe because people know it's my granddaughter, they encourage her. We encourage her to play because she loves the game, and she's playing as we speak. And there are other secondary schools, some schools in Port of Spain. As a matter of fact, the Port of Spain school, I think it is St. Joseph Convent, Port of Spain, they are the secondary school's girls champion, captained by the granddaughter of Brian Davis. So cricket is being played in Trinidad, and I cannot see why the girls' cricket, women's cricket is not being played across the Caribbean. It is the responsibility of the territorial board, and they have to carry the blame. It is not CWI responsibility.
Yeah, because I just wanted to ask VP, because as you said that, I was doing an analysis of our cricket, and I said if you look I think Cricket West Indies have moved away from their mandate somewhat into taking up responsibilities where territorial boards historically had their responsibilities. And as a result, got themselves into more expenditure as a result there, right? So, and this is one example, as you cite, you bring it up here, Mr. VP, that the territorial boards have to do it because with the government and the board to get young girls to be involved in cricket, even from primary school. Look, in Australia, they start up the children at 5 and 6 years old. You could teach a young girls the fun and the thing, and then forming teams by the time they get to high school, you know?
Yeah.
So, that's a territorial board. Cricket West Indies could be given guidance, but that's a territorial board responsibility.
And back in the days, Guyana Cricket Board had a women's arm led by attorney at law Dr. Emily Dotson. She was the president of the women's section under the Guyana Cricket Board.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, where Cricket West Indies, I think, come in is a la like in the ICC. If you want to maintain your membership in ICC, you are mandated to have a women's program. So that's where the West Indies Cricket Board could come down on the affiliate boards, the territorial boards, that one of your responsibilities of your membership is that you have to put together women's program. And there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Yeah, we have a CWI. There is a women's committee headed by Kumar Rodney of Antigua. So I will expect that he will have meetings with different people on the committee and to ensure that something is started, if not in secondary schools, get the people in the different territorial board to start some sort of women's cricket. We have mandated, the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board have mandated the 7 zones. They must start a women's tournament. Started with the wind ball, the tennis ball. I did that in 2005, Rex. And we started off with 4 teams. And after 3 or 4 years, we reached up to about 16 teams. Girls alone playing softball cricket. And it was a big thing in the area in South Trinidad, Princestown, Rio Claro, Mayaro, Moruga, Barco area. And if each zone do that, then the cricket will spread, and the young girls is going to graduate into the hardball cricket. You will not be able to produce a Marissa Aguilera or a Stephanie Taylor or Haley Matthews in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. But I'm quite sure in 6, 7, 8 years, we will be able to do that.
Well, in Guyana, there's a guy called Alistair Monroe, and he has tours with overhand. They bowl overhand, but other teams spelt. But they play tape ball cricket, wind ball cricket, and he goes to Trinidad, he goes to Barbados with these girls.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing now in Guyana is that only Rose Hall Town has a female team, and so they can't play with nobody else. They have to play, the good girls has to play in the men's teams.
Yeah, but it is something that we have to get the territorial boards to do. And Basil, you will know too that in the Caribbean, there's hardly any territory that plays the under 13. I think Guyana plays the under 13 now. Barbados plays it, and we played. But it started off with Trinidad and Barbados through the National Sports Council under Mr. Lee Whiteside. They would have had this under 13 tournament. Shaiho playing the under 13. There's a bat, a mini bat in my office, at the office there, that's signed by Shaiho and Craig Braffett and those guys.
And what has happened now to the bilateral under 13 series with Guyana and Trinidad, Mr. VP? I know they're doing it now with Barbados.
Yeah. Well, because of politics,
yes.
I didn't want to have nothing to do with certain people, and I didn't bother to take up the offer or continue it. We went to Jamaica. Jamaica came to Trinidad in 2024, I believe. Yeah, they came and they had a bilateral.
And that's another problem that affects in West Indies cricket. Too much of politics in the cricket.
Windward Islands, Grenada. We went up with about the 15 team there sometime in 23 or 24 too. I can't remember. But, you know, it is something that bilaterals have to be done. As we speak, there is no regional under-17 tournament in 2026. Trinidad and Tobago had an under-17, not interzone, but 4-team tournament that we selected because we didn't want to leave that wide gap open and not do anything for those cricketers. So we selected 4 teams and we had a tournament with them, and they also played a North-South game as with all the other age groups.
But even though the West Indies Cricket Board, well, CWI has dropped because of funding, lack of funding, the under 17 and under 15 from the regional calendar, Guyana still has under 16 and under 15 and under 17 tournaments.
No, CWI didn't drop the under 15, they played the under 15, but they had bilaterals.
Yes, it was played bilaterally. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean a regional. When I say regional tournament, I mean everybody play everybody.
We got we have the Sir Garfield tournament in Barbados there. It would be great if more teams from the various territories come in for that tournament, because it's the next best thing to a regional tournament, and you would know many. That was the first time Sobors, for example, saw Lara.
Yeah.
That tournament many years
Fatima
ago.
College.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Guyana has a lot of teams going to that also.
Yes, I know. Guyana got a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly,
there was a team from Trinidad too there last year too.
Yeah. A few teams from Trinidad will be going this year.
Oh, excellent. Yes.
We've gone 50 minutes past our time. Just because there's no other program tonight. The young lady's got the program, but I don't know if she's coming tonight. And I want to say kudos to my technical man, Shervin Seymour. No, Mendonza. Got your name wrong. And he's the one that is setting up the companies to get mileage with the videos and so on. And also he's a DJ. He DJs in Spanish too. So he's a multi-talented Seymour. Good night to everybody on the behalf of Red Sporera, VC Bassarat from Trinidad. He's also the Vice President of the West Indies Board and the President of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, and also Basil Butcher Jr., who Mrs. Nobeat to tell you that his father is the great Basil Butcher, who played in Linden. Yes, and on behalf of our technical man, Mr. Shervin Mendonza, I'm Sean Dever saying, if you can be good, be careful.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Surprise your family today with a nice vanilla flavored cake made with Maid Marian cake flour. It's perfect for the birthday, anniversary, special occasion, or just celebrating the joy of having your family together. So get a pack or 2 of Maid Marian cake flour to make that moist, fluffy, vanilla flavored sponge cake, donut shaped cakes, Swiss rolls, and other delicious baked goods. Bring on the smiles with Maid Marian cake flour. Made and packaged not by hand by Nomilco, the National Milling Company of Guyana.
National Milling Company of Guyana.
Attention seafood suppliers, Dave's, the largest purchaser of fresh fish from Guyana, is interested in buying from you. Dave's deeply cares about bolstering the local economy and is looking to begin business with an eager seller of fresh fish and agro products. Dave's needs a constant supply of snapper, butterfish, bangameri, boundary crab, sheriga crab, white belly shrimp, bon carilo, edo, saijambaji, and more. Contact Dave's West Indian Imports at 21 Middle Street, Viceless, East Coast, Demerara. Telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. Dave's will purchase.
Finger licking good, yeah. Got me in the mood for sharing. Come and join the party at KFC. take a bite. It's the best flavor, best vibes. Get a bucket with your friends, pass it to the left, and have the best time of your life. Finger licking good, yeah, yeah. Got me in the mood for sharing. Come and join the party at KFC, at KFC.
Igloo sugar-free ice cream. Sugar-free ice cream.
Impossible that you're singing about ice cream without added sugar right now. I mean, how's that going to taste?
It's the best, most delicious I've ever tasted. The premium French vanilla flavor is so rich and velvety. Plus, my gym instructor approves. It's great for my weight loss.
So it's really delicious? Like you aren't kidding me? The children! No added sugar could be healthier for them. And Grandpa Glenn, with his diabetic condition. You mean he could finally enjoy desserts after all these years? I have to go. I have to get this.
Grab Igloo's sugar-free ice cream before she does.
We touch everything. Tables, toys, countertops, door handles, sinks. Mighty Foam's all-purpose cleaner is my secret weapon. Easy and effective with no sticky residue. Mighty Foam all-purpose cleaner. Enjoy all of life's textures.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming